Dolls. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'm glad you stopped by. If you're returning, what's up? Okay, yes, we have a new family name, you guys. We voted on Instagram. You guys voted for Delle Dolls. So you guys are the dolls now, okay? I might call you dolls. I might call you Delle Dolls. Either way, y'all are here. Y'all are family, and you're here to stay, all right? And if you're not following me on Instagram, look at that link down below. Go ahead and follow me because I am way more intimate and personal and lit over there, okay? It is never a dull moment, and it is a family of support, so you don't want to miss out, okay? Even if you are a fellow creative, don't miss out because it's nothing but love over there, period. All right, so today I'm bringing you guys a story time, the long awaited for story time, okay, about my ex-boyfriend married the other girlfriend. And your girl was oblivious. I did not know. I was blindsided. I was young and love and just dumb. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. I got my little mango-rita. All right. And I don't even drink like that. Honestly, this can's probably going to last me like almost a week because I usually just want a swig just to get the taste on my tongue. But this story might need it. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get that now. All right. So get yourself a beverage. Pause this video. Get yourself a beverage, whether it's alcoholic, non-alcoholic. Get you a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into this video, all right? So, story time, okay? We got to go back to 2009, really the end of 2008 into 2009, right? I know, serious throwback. I can barely remember what I was doing back then, but I was on Black Planet, all right? This is how you know this was back then. Black Planet, comment down below if you had a Black Planet page and if you remember how Black Planet was, all right? And back then, we had all these different pages. You had Mi Gente, you had Asian Avenue, not Spanish Avenue. You had Mi Gente, Asian Avenue, and Black Planet. Black Planet was ratchet, okay? But back then, everybody used it to date. So I'm on there looking through profiles, all that kind of stuff. And guys usually hit you up. You know how it goes, ladies. You have a profile, they come like mosquitoes to the light. Like, you ain't even got to do much, but put up a nice little cute photo and they gonna stop by. So that's what happened. You know, I'm filtering through all these guys, filtering, responding to some, ignoring some. Then I run across this guy, and we're gonna call my ex, let's see, we'll call him Bob, all right? So I run across Bob's message, and Bob is fine, girl, all right? He's in the military at this point. I'm not gonna say which branch because it might give it away, but especially if he sees this or one of his family members do. But he was in the military, all right? Fine as I don't know what, in shape, all right? Muscles just on fleek, tatted up, you know, and I've always had a weakness for tattoos. Like, I have one and I want to get more, but I've always loved tattoos. Like, it's just, I love it. So he's tatted up, he got the muscles, okay? He's all bronzy, looking all nice in his pictures and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, who is this? Okay, I'm like, wait a minute. And he's, of course, hitting all the pleasantries. What's up, beautiful? Hello, gorgeous. You know, I ran across your profile and I couldn't help but stop and da-da-da-da. You know, all the stuff we love to hear, right? So I'm just like, okay, he looks like he's getting it all together. And I go on his profile. He had actually filled it out because, trust me, ladies, when you're online dating, a lot of men just do not fill out the profile. And comment down below if you have experienced this, but they just don't fill out the profile. They leave you in the lurch and you're like, who are you? Like, what do you like? You know, where are you from? All that. He put detail. He put how tall he was. He put where he's from. You know, he loved the Lord, all that type of stuff. And you guys know I'm a Christian. Always have been. Back then I was ratchet, and I still got a little ratchet in me, but yeah, like, I was just like, okay, he's hitting all the marks. It seems to be a good match. So I respond to him. We're talking. He lets me know he's in the military, and at the time he was deployed. Okay, so he wasn't in the States, and he was looking for a serious relationship. He's a serious dater. He doesn't really just play date or whatever. So everything's going well, and it's like music to my ears, right? He's saying everything I want to hear. He wants to get married. He wants children. He loves God. He's this, he's that. Like, you know, he's a Southern gent. He just is so chivalrous and gentlemanlike and stuff, you know. And so we're talking, and at this time I have to say I was 19 when I met him. Like, yeah, I just turned 19 when I met him. No, did I turn 19? No, I just turned 20 when I met him. So I was young, you know, and he was my first serious relationship. So I was always kind of hip to the game because in my teens, me and my best friends, we used to be out here, y'all. Those would be more story times, not in like a hoish way, but because back then I was a virgin, okay? So I was definitely like hip to some things, but I wasn't hip to everything. So definitely not on the adult side of the game. And so we exchange numbers. When you're deployed, those of you who might not know, you can't call the person, they have to call you. So, and that could be any stretch of time. You might hear from them every day if you're fortunate. But given that this was during the Iraq war times, you know, I wasn't expecting to hear from him every day because this was active war. And so I was like, okay, maybe once a week if I'm lucky. But he could have emailed me, and even that was kind of like in between, you know, because they had to get to a certain part of the base to get to the computers and all this kind of stuff. And it was a lot, you know. So we exchanged, and I give him my number, and he's like, okay, I'll call you when I can. But we exchanged emails, and so we're going back and forth, you know, all this kind of stuff. And so I'm telling him about myself and the typical date and stuff, right? So time goes on. This is like beginning of 2009 now, where we're like exchanging, communicating, all this kind of stuff. And he's so sweet. I mean, he's like doing those little sweet romantic things, like I remember one time he sent me a package, not like, you know, with a ton of goodies or whatever, but it had a letter. It had like some little trinkets from where he was deployed at, and it had like pictures of him, and he just wrote these sweet poems, and it was just like, you know, I can see us cooking in the kitchen on a Sunday afternoon after church, and, you know, just like all of that, right? And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I love this guy. And he's like, I think of your pretty smile when I'm lonely and all this kind of stuff, right? So he would call me. Usually I would hear from him about once a week, and he would call me. We'd talk for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most. And then he would have to go, you know, so he could get back to his duties. And I would be so down. I remember I would just be so pressed to see his emails. I would be so pressed to like hear from him and just be like, oh my gosh, like he sent me an email and all this kind of stuff. So fast forward to about May of, like end of May, 2009. I was finishing my junior year of college, and so I was just like telling him, you know, how much I wanted to graduate, and I can't wait till I graduate and we could start a life together and all this kind of stuff. And so he was like, yeah, I'm actually leaving earlier than I was supposed to, so I'll be back home in the DC area he's not from the DC area, mind you. He was from Tennessee. So he was like, but he was stationed in the Maryland area. So Maryland, DC area. So he was like, I'm gonna be back in the DC area in July. And so I'm really excited to meet you. We could finally like go on a date and all this kind of stuff. And he's just like, by this time he had said, I love you and all that. Like in our emails, he was like, I love you. I can see you being my wife, all this kind of stuff. I can't wait to have children with you and just raise up a family and all this stuff. So I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you and blah, blah, blah. So then we're talking. I remember Michael Jackson passed away, and I know this is going to sound petty, but I should have known right then and there that we weren't meant for each other, because I'm expressing how sad I am that MJ passed. Like, he's a king of pop. He's a legend. I'm like, he passed away, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, well, I'm glad that he passed away because he had issues and this, that, the third. And he was just like throwing mad shade. And I was just like, wow, tell me how you really feel, right? I know it's petty, ladies. That's not a reason to say someone's not the one, but I'm just saying, I should have known right there that he wasn't for me, because he really did make me feel some type of way. And I remember we got into this argument about it, and it was what it was, right? So summertime comes around, and I'm taking a summer class. My best friend and I, one of my best friends and I, we're going up to my university for my summer class. We're hanging out afterwards, going to Arundel Mills, all Maryland folks. You know, Arundel Mills used to be the spot back then, all right? Like, we used to go back there, go to the shops, you know, eat at the food court, just get into stuff. Because I went to the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, which is in Baltimore, but it's not downtown Baltimore. It's in the outskirts. So we go into Baltimore, get into stuff, you know, meet up dudes and whatnot. You know, we was getting it in, all right? We was living our best lives, period. And so we're kicking it and all that. And then I remember him telling me, like, I got the date. You know, one day we were hanging out, and me and her were at Arundel Mills, and he had emailed me. I was like, let me check my email, because I was attached to my phone. Like, I was like, did he email me yet? Did he email? I don't want to miss anything. Like, I was pressed, all right? And especially because he's deployed. And again, this is wartime, so I'm thinking, is he okay? Like, did he get shot? Did he get hit by or ambushed by a target or anything like that? You know, like, your mind is racing when you don't hear from them. And I really feel for military wives for that reason, because the military has a lot of mess that goes on in it, but it's also a lot of stress and just anticipation waiting for your spouse to come back home or your significant other to come back home. So I feel for them, because it's not for the faint of heart, you know, and especially when you're in active war times. And it was one of those times. So I was just like attached to the phone, and my friend's like, girl, chill out. Like, you know, he'll get to you when he gets to you, type of thing. And so I opened the email, because he did email me, and I had missed it by like 20 minutes. And I was just like, oh no, I'm probably not going to hear from him again for the rest of the day. But I opened it, and he was like, I got a date. This is the date I'm coming home, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm elated at this point. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see you. And I'm like, we going to do this, we going to do that. Mind you, like I said, I'm still a virgin at this point, all right? So, and I have to say this to give it context as to why this was so impactful. And so this situation was so impactful. So at this point, I'm elated. I'm on cloud nine. We hang out for the rest of the day, all that type of stuff. So the date comes for him to come home. And I remember he tells me like, okay, I'm on the flight. I'm going to get in at this time. Now, I really can't remember because this was so long ago. I can't remember if he came in early enough that day where I saw him the exact day that he came home, or if I ended up seeing him the next day. I really can't remember, but I know it was within a 24 to 48 hour period. So he tells me like, okay, I'm home. This at the third, I'm at this base, whatever, you can come see me when you're ready, because I really, really want to see you. So I'm like, my heart is pounding at this point, because at this point he had asked me to be his girlfriend while he was deployed. So we're in a relationship, and while he was deployed, mind you, I have to say this too, I was communicating with his family back and forth. So at this point, I had like some camaraderie with them because they were all in Tennessee, and so he was the only one up in the DMV, but I was communicating with them, like if he would call me and he'll be like, oh, can you reach out to my brother so-and-so and tell him this is going on, or I had been friends with his sister on Facebook. The only people I didn't like talk to one-on-one yet in a personal, intimate way were his parents and grandparents, but they knew of me and they liked me from the bit that he told them, according to him. I can only go off of what he said and what his siblings said, but I was real tight with his siblings. We would talk, we would, message each other back and forth, joke with each other, all this kind of stuff. And so he's just like, okay, he was like, I'm home, this at the third, and I'd like to see you. So I'm like, okay, bet. Like, I'm like, after class on this day, I'm gonna come and see you. So I remember I go to see him, right? Because where he was stationed at wasn't far from my house. I was so nervous. Like, it was a ball of emotions. I was nervous. I was excited. I didn't know what to think. Because like I said, this man was fine. He was fine. All right. And after so many months of talking long distance and the letters and the pictures and all this kind of stuff, the emotions were real. Like, I really, really love this guy, right? So I remember I pulled up to the McDonald's across the street from the base, and he was like, I'm gonna meet you out there, because to get on base, depending on the base, it could be a lot. Some of them are more lenient than others, but it wasn't unusual for them to like tell you to pull over so they could search your car, all that kind of stuff. And so he was like, let me meet you at the McDonald's first, and then after time you could come on base or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he meets me at the McDonald's, girl. Whoo! Let me take a sip of my margarita. So he meets me at the McDonald's. He is walking up, and I'm just like, bow chicka wow wow. Like, he is fine, okay? Like, he is looking like an entire meal. Forget a snack. He's looking like an entire meal, all right? And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, girl, you hit the jackpot with this one, right? And mind you, he's like a Southern gentleman. He's like got all the charisma and chivalry and all that down pat. So he gets in the car, we're talking, he gives me a hug and a kiss, and I'm just like, butterflies. I feel like I'm gonna throw up because I'm so excited. I'm just overwhelmed with joy and emotion. And so we're talking, he's just like, okay, we could go to the base because I'm in the car with you, so it should be easier. And so we go on base, we go to his room, and we're just kicking it. We're just chilling, having a good time, talking, all this kind of stuff. And so, I can't remember if it was that day or another day again, but eventually, he was the one that took my V card from me. So we did that whole thing. And ladies, it is so important. Like, if you have not done that yet, save it for someone who really, 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 really deserves it. And honestly, if you're going God's way, I'm a Christian, if you're going God's way, then just save it for marriage. There's a reason why God designed it for marriage. It just makes things a lot easier. And you can't be out here giving up your golden goodies to any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes around, because a lot of guys will tell you what you want to hear to get it. I'm not saying that's his primary reason, but I'm just saying, like, looking back, I wish I didn't do that with him. But nevertheless, we did that. And at that point, I'm really attached now because that's my first, so I'm like, he loves me, he's this, he's that. And then we did that, like, we're good. Now, things started to shift in July after like a week or two. I would say probably like about 2 or 3 weeks towards the end of July. Things started to shift, right? So he started to change from being this really charismatic, friendly, romantic, hopeless romantic type of guy to being like really cold, really callous, really snarky, narcissistic, okay? Flat out verbally abusive, mentally abusive a couple of times. he tried to play wrestle, but the way he did it, honestly, like you could even say if things went any more to the left, it could have even been physical abuse, like that kind of thing, you know? And so I remember in particular, my family and I used to go to Kings Dominion every year when we lived in the DMV. And because it wasn't far, it's like the closest amusement park that you could get to that really has a lot going on, because Six Flags is kind of in Maryland. It's not really popping like that, like the other Six Flags. So every year we went to Kings Dominion. And this one trip, I was like, you should come with us, you know, this, that, the third. He was like, okay, cool. Now, my mom and dad had already met him, and I'm not really a daddy's girl. Like, me and my dad, we're not beefing or anything like that, but I'm just closer to my mom. Like, my mom is the one that I talk to about everything, especially now that I'm a mom. You know, if I'm going to tell her my parents anything, it's going to be my mom. My dad was more so the fun-loving one. So my dad was like the one that you turn up with, the one that you kick back with, that kind of stuff. But I'm not like a daddy's girl in the traditional sense. You know, it's me and my mom. We're road dogs, you know? And so my mom and dad had met him, and because my mom is more of like the straight shooter type, she saw him and she was not feeling him from the jump. And moms know, okay? Like, comment down below if your mom is like this too, but moms be knowing, okay? And mom, they just have this sixth sense. Like, listen to your mother. Unless she is like off the wall or just one of those destructive, chaotic types, listen to your mom, because when she's saying she has a feeling about that guy, she ain't lying, sis. Moms be knowing. And she met him and she was just like, I'm not trusting it. I'm not trusting this, you know, good church boy, I love the Lord, you know, I'm just all romantic act. She was like, something is off about him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm not trusting that. Like, it just seems like an act. My dad will more so be the one, up until he got sick, to like go out with the guys that I'm dating, go get some beers with them, hang out with them, and then he'll get the tea from them being relaxed. Because when you're hanging out with somebody, you are going to get information. Like, the best way to know how someone really feels is to listen to what they say when they're intoxicated or when they're angry or when they're joking. The truth always comes out when someone's joking, when they're angry, or when they're intoxicated. So my dad would do that with the person. Like, let's go hang out. Yeah, let's go to the bar. Let's get beers. And he'll just talk to them. And so the guy that I'm dating is like, oh, her dad's cool, you know. And so he starts running off at the mouth, getting verbal diarrhea, telling my dad all this stuff. And then my dad would go home and talk about it with my mom and me and be like, yeah, I didn't trust that. Like, he said this, that. Like, my parents are dope when it comes to stuff like that. They're straight espionage out here, right? They're like, look, we gonna get the tea, period. We gonna get it one way or the other. My mom will flat out interrogate you, and she's not like a real jokey, smiley person. Like, she's the type of person where you either love her or you hate her, but she's gonna give it to you straight with no chaser. And people either hate it or they love it, you know. And so when she meets a guy in particular, she's not gonna be like, oh, it's so nice to meet you, and this and that. Like, she's not like that. She's gonna be like, hi. Yeah, I'm Rondell's mom. Like, she's just gonna be looking at you like that. Like, I'm not about to be kikiing with you and all that. Like, I'm observing you from head to toe. And so she just had a feeling about it, but she was like, you know what? You're grown. You want to date him. Go ahead. But there's certain things I'm just not going to co-sign. And he kept pushing the marriage thing, which I'll get to in a bit. But anyways, I invited him to Kings Dominion, and I'm like, I'm going to drive down with him in his car, you know, trying to do the couple stuff or whatnot. And my parents and family were driving in the car ahead of us. And ladies, this is another thing. If you got to force it with a man, especially young ladies, because I know I do have some younger women that watch me. If you have to force it, if you're the one that's like trying to take the lead as far as like, oh, let's do this together or let's do that, and you're trying to be this like perfect couple and you're the one doing that, then just cut it off. Like, you know, it's a guy that really wants you. He's going to take, like, I have yet to meet a man that really wanted to be with me and really cared about me who did not take the lead. Any man that I had to take the lead with, he wasn't serious about me. Like, I don't think it's in a man's nature to be so laid back about it. Like, you know, yeah. So we're driving down anyways to Kings Dominion, going down. He's playing like all this Southern trap music and stuff. And this is when trap was just coming out, right? And so I'm just like, okay, you know, chopped and screwed, we bopping, we like, hey, you know, look, all this kind of stuff. And so his personality from the ride there was already starting to get distant. So we go through the day, he plays one of the little carnival games at Kings Dominion, wins me a big stuffed animal. And I'm like, oh my God, my man won me a stuffed animal. Oh my God. Like, I'm just so impressed, right? And so then we leave from Kings Dominion, right? And we're driving back to my house. I'm in this car again, and my family's in the other car ahead of us. This is when I started to see that he wasn't who he claimed he would be. So it was like a 180 went off. It was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type stuff. Because the man that was super romantic and saying all the right things, he was gone, okay? This man was so cold towards me. He was so mean. I remember driving down back to my house. He put on Beyonce's Dangerously in Love. And throughout the day, he was kind of showing little signs of being cold anyway. And so leaving King's Dominion, I really started to question myself, because being that young, you take relationships to a whole nother level, and it really affects you. And so I'm like, dang, like, he wasn't as sweet to me today. Was it something I said? Did he not like my outfit? Like, I'm starting to like rip myself apart, and this is a warning sign, ladies. When you have a guy doing that, leave. It's not worth it. He's definitely, if he's making you question yourself, it's not worth it. And so I don't know how we got to it, but he put on Beyonce's Dangerously in Love, and he was just like, he said something. I can't remember what he said, but basically what he said, he was like, why are you so down, or something like that. And I was just like, well, you're just kind of cold or whatever. And so he said something really sharp in return. And then I was like, he was like, see, I started to cry to what he said, because I think I was like vibing out to the music, and I was like, these lyrics are really hitting home right now. And he was like, see, that's what I don't like. You always so emotional. You always doing the most. And I'm paraphrasing, because again, I can't remember exactly how I went, but I remember the song was on. He had said something really harsh, and it made me cry. And I was crying in the car, and instead of him being like, oh, my bad, or whatever, or trying to comfort me, he's like berating me like he's going in, he's just ripping me to shreds. Like, see, that's what I'm talking about. You always crying, and that ish is annoying, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's just going off, right? And so I'm crying even more now, and I'm just quiet. And then the whole ride home, at that point, we didn't say anything. And then he drops me off to my house. By then I had wiped the tears, because I love this man. I didn't want my parents to see me crying and be like, you're not talking to him anymore. This and that. So I wiped the tears. I got it together, got out the car, and I was like, okay, thanks. I'll see you tomorrow, whatever. He was like, yeah, whatever. And just drove off. And so I'm just like, damn, like, at this point, I'm really second guessing myself and my worth as a woman. And so that was kind of the precedence for how the rest of our relationship went, because I remember after that, it was just every time. And if you hear my son in the background, he's playing with my sister. So you might hear him in the camera. I don't know, like, whew. But yeah, so I remember every time after that, though, it's like I never felt good enough. I always felt like I was trying to meet a mark to impress him. I was trying to show him, like, see, I can be that girl. See, you can love me. See, I could do this. It's whatever you want to do. Like, I didn't know myself then. And it's so important. That's why I always tell younger women, take time to know yourself. Because or make sure, because sometimes you do get in a relationship young, and it actually is who God has for you. But make sure that the person is encouraging you. Like, any man that makes you have to second guess yourself, it's not worth it. Any man that makes you feel like you're not worthy, or you're always chasing a moving goalpost, like, it's not worth it. And so I remember that's basically how the rest of the summer went. It was just like, he would be really romantic one day, and then he'll be really off the next. And then it's like one day he'd be all over me, and, oh, I love you, and holding my hand and taking pictures and all that. And of course, getting it in. And then the next day he would be cold and just like, almost like hit it and quit it type stuff, And I'm just like, oh, maybe he's stressed out, like I'm taking all the blame. And then, the next day he'll be on again. And it just kept going. So that at this point, he had told me he was supposed to go to Tennessee for the holidays to see his family. And so he was like, my family wants to meet you. They want to see your family. They're supposed to come up here for the Christmas holiday. I'm supposed to go down in time for Thanksgiving. And my birthday's in November, usually around Thanksgiving. Sometimes it is Thanksgiving Day. So he was like, they would love to see you. I would love to have you come down with me, all this kind of stuff. Kind of threw it out there in August, around August time. So I was like, yeah, that'll be cool. So, my family's planning when we're going to go down, how it's going to happen. My mom's old school, okay? She believes that a man should come to see the woman first. His family should come to see the woman's family first. Like, the woman's family should not be traveling to see him and his family. Like, my mom's old school, okay? She's pushing 70. So she comes from that era where things were done very traditionally. And I don't fault her, to be honest, but I was just like, they're coming for Christmas. It just so happens that Thanksgiving falls before. So she was like, okay, whatever. Like, I finally convinced her to do it. But every time it came down to plan, he would never give me a solid answer. He would never be like, oh yeah, this date works, or you could stay at these hotels, or you could do this or that. It was always like, oh, I'm gonna get back to you, or, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about, like, he would always brush it off, So while I'm going through all this with him, I didn't know he was dating the other girl, right? And so, what was it? October comes around, October 2009. And he was supposed to go to California to visit friends he was deployed with. I was going to California with a company that my parents were a part of for a convention, because they had 3 conventions a year, and we always made the conventions like a little vacation. So we would go spend a few extra days, get into the sites around the area, and just do touristy stuff as well as do the business stuff. And so I was telling him, oh, I'm going to California too. We were going to Long Beach. He was supposed to be going to Oakland, or even somewhere further north than Cali or something. But if we wanted to see each other, we could have made it happen. Like, it wasn't that far that you couldn't see each other. But even still, he could have definitely reached out, even if we didn't see each other. So he was like, okay, cool, yeah, like, I'm gonna definitely reach out to you when I leave. And, I'm being a typical girlfriend. Let me know you made it there safely, because he left like a day before me or something like that. And then I think I came back a little before him from the trip. So he was in Cali longer than me. And I was like, let me know you made it there safe and this and that, the third. He was like, yeah, I'm going to do that, babe, da-da-da. And so he gets there. I'm already in Long Beach. I'm calling. I'm like, did he make it there safely? Like, did he miss the flight? Did something happen? Did he get sick? Worried sick, right? He ain't answering the phone. And I'm just like, what's going on? I'm sending emails. Like, I'm messaging his siblings. His siblings are like, I don't know anything. Like, you know, I'll try to reach him, but I don't know. And so I'm like, dang, like, what happened? So, like, a whole day passes. He finally gets back to me. He's like, oh, yeah, I was preoccupied. You know, it was a hectic day of traveling, so I didn't answer. But I made it. You know, I'm going to be kind of busy. So if you don't hear from me, don't worry. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm trying to give a man enough space. I don't want to, like, breathe down his neck or whatever. Even now I'm like that. Like, after we get past the foundation of, like, getting to know each other, I'm like, go hang out with your friends, have fun. And so, you know, I don't really hear from him. Like, all the times I'm hearing from him, it's me reaching out. And that's another red flag, ladies. Comment below if you know this too. Like, if you always got to initiate the conversation, leave it alone, you know? And that's basically what was happening. And so when my family came back from Long Beach, we came back to being evicted out of my childhood home because my family got caught up in the whole countrywide mortgage thing in the early 2000s. I talked about that in my moving to Atlanta video, you know, of how that all kind of happened and whatnot. And I'll probably do a story time on that if you want to know just the details of how that all went down. But needless to say, our lives were never the same after that. And we're still low-key, like, dealing with some of the remnants of bouncing back from that whole situation. But needless to say, we were getting evicted. I come home, sheriff's in the house, throwing stuff out the house, all this kind of stuff. And I call him, he doesn't answer the phone. So I text him, I'm like, hello, this is going on. And I'm frantic. I'm just like in my feelings, right? Sorry, I have a crook in my neck. And so finally he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I could come over after work. Cause like I said, his base wasn't far from my house. It was like a 15-minute drive. So he was like, I could come over after work if you need help, like putting stuff in storage or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So he ends up, I don't think he ended up coming over that day. I think it was the next day because he said he couldn't make it or something like that. But nevertheless, he eventually comes over, he helps out. But at this point, he's already like beyond cold, right? So he's, again, hot one day, cold the next, all this kind of stuff. So I remember one day, instead of helping me move the stuff to the stores, we decided to go hang out. And so we're driving to McDonald's, getting snacks, all this kind of stuff. And he asked me if I'm dating anybody else. And I'm just like, why would I be dating anybody else if I'm in a relationship with you? And he was like, well, remember I did say that I wanted to take a break or something like that, or we should, you know, try dating other people and stuff. And I was like, mind you, he did say that, but again, it was like a passing conversation in like end of August, September. It wasn't like a serious, like, we're on a break, go date other people type stuff. It was like he kind of threw it out there and kept it moving. So I'm just like, you did throw it out there, but we didn't decide on that. And he was like, well, I'm talking to other people, and there's this one girl that I really, really like. And so he brings up her name. We'll call her Sarah. He was like, well, I really like Sarah, and she's beautiful, and she loves the Lord. I mean, she's like on fire for the Lord, and her dad is a pastor, and she's this and she's that. And every time I call her and tell her something, she praises me right then and there. And I mean, he's just boasting about this girl like she is just the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And he's saying all this while I'm in the car with him, right? We on a date. And he's telling me how much he likes the other chick. And so I'm feeling like less than a woman at this point. I'm just like, man, I'm not good enough. Like, basically, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not saved enough. I'm not all this kind of stuff, right? And so he was like, yeah, you should try to date other people and this, that, the third. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. So at this point, I'm confused. It's like, we're together, but we're not together. Like, you're kind of trying to tell me that you have someone else, but you're not coming right out and saying it. And so needless to say, during the eviction process, which was like a month or a month and a half after that conversation about the other women, he's just like all on his phone, you know, while I'm at the storage unit. He's supposed to be helping me put up boxes. He's in the car on his phone, giggling, kikiing. And then when he would see me come, he would like put the phone down real quick and stuff like that. Just doing the sneaky stuff that men do when they know they ain't doing no good by you, you know, doing that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, can you help me with the boxes? Can you help with this and that? He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Like, he will be annoyed by me asking, right? You came to help, but you're annoyed that I'm asking you to actually help. How does that work? Make it make sense. And so, I remember one day we were at the storage unit. He was playing, like trying to play wrestle me, but he had me in a chokehold, like, and it actually really hurt. And so I was telling him to let go of me. My mom is not a fan of play wrestling at all. She thinks it's one step away from abuse. She's not down with that. And she was watching and she was like, let go of her. She said it hurts. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let go, whatever, you know? So he lets go, and at that point I'm scared because I'm like, okay, you're already cold and now you're starting to try to put hands on me. You're trying to do it in a slick way, but I'm telling you it hurts and you're not stopping. Like, that's really weird, you know? And so needless to say, November comes around. He decides to go to Tennessee for Thanksgiving. My family's like, we're not going to go because this was the year of my 21st birthday. And like I said, my birthday is around Thanksgiving. So my family's like, we're not going to go because he didn't really give us any info. And at this point, he's like kind of lessening communication between me and his family. Like, he's kind of interceding, like, okay, I got it. You know, you ain't got to talk to her type stuff, or you ain't got to talk to them type stuff. Like, he's inserting himself. And so I spend Thanksgiving here. I have a big birthday party at Dave & Buster's where I invite like my closest friends. I pay for them. We have a blast. You know, then I have like a more intimate party at one of the offices, like home offices that we had in DC. And I invited just some of our very, very intimate close friends and had a dinner and we played music and stuff like that. But he was supposed to come to the Dave & Buster's event. You know, he said that he was going to come back in town in time to make it to that event, and he never came. So I'm calling him that night. I'm at Dave & Buster's. I remember I'm calling him. I'm texting him like, are you coming? Where are you at? Like, I'm not hearing from you. And he was just like, oh, yeah, the flight got delayed. This is the third, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember if it was a flight. Yeah, it was a flight because he was at the airport. He was like, the flight got delayed. This is the third. Lies, right? All lies. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, you're not going to make it. So I'm trying to have a good time, but I'm feeling some type of way because I'm like, my boyfriend's not here. Like, I want him to be here. You know, it's my 21st birthday. It's a milestone. And so he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, babe. This, that, the third. Come to find out later, he actually was in the parking lot because he described it like as he saw. I'll get to that in a second. But anyways, so, you know, I have the birthday party. He calls me on my actual birthday and he sings happy birthday to me because he can sing. He sings happy birthday to me, him and his brother, you know, they harmonizing and ooh, all extra stuff, right? So I'm like, ooh, yeah, okay, you singing to me, my boo singing. And I'm thinking we all good. Little did I know that he had other plans, all right? So we fast forward to December. I'm on Facebook. I'm still kind of trying to see if his family's coming to DC for the holidays. If so, like, I'm going to plan. I'm going to take them out, give them the full tourist experience, all that kind of stuff that you give people when they come to the DMV. He's still not sharing details. And at this point, he's beyond distant. Like, we ain't even really doing the do anymore. Like, we're just talking if I get him on the phone and that's it. And my family's still trying to pick up the pieces of our lives by moving the stuff to the storage unit, trashing stuff. We're staying in DC at this point, driving back and forth to Maryland. I'm in my senior year of college at this point. You know, it's a lot going on. And so he never answers. But one day I remember I went to the base with my sister and we go to Bob's room. All right, we're hanging out. And he's just like, he didn't even want to touch me. Like, he barely wanted to look at me. He didn't even want to touch me, nothing. And I'm just like, hey, babe. I reach out for a hug. He gives me one of them church hugs. Like, hey, you know, and I'm just like, what is this church hug energy? Like, I don't understand. And so we're talking, we're laughing. He's just really just spaced out and out of it, right? He's probably trying to think how he's going to get out of the mess he got himself into. So I remember we were leaving and he was just like, let me know you made it home safe or something like that. But before that, he was like, I really think we should just be friends, you know, but he still was like low-key trying to hint that we should be friends with benefits. And I don't do that. That's not really my thing for real. And so I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I got to go, right? So he was like, let me know you made it home safe. And he gives me another church hug and I go in my car and I drive off with my sister. And I was like, the energy was really weird in there. Like, that was really bizarre. So I get home, okay, I go on Facebook. Remember, I'm friends with his siblings. I go on Facebook, I think it was the next morning. It was really either late that night or early morning. And no, it was late that night, I remember. I get home, I go on Facebook late that night, and I pull up his brother's page, right? Because his brother comes up on my news feed, and he's wearing this nice suit, and he's kind of in this decorated room and stuff. So I'm like, oh, they must have had like a holiday party when Bob went back home for the holidays, you know, for Thanksgiving. So I'm like, oh, let me see these pictures and stuff. I click the thing, go on his brother's profile, and I see that it says, the title of the album says, The Wedding of Bob and Sarah. I just about passed out. Okay, talk about having a heart attack. I said, the wedding of who? And I'm clicking through the photos. I see his brother in a suit, him in a suit, her, Sarah and her family all dressed up. And mind you, this looked like a shotgun wedding. Like, I'm not even trying to throw shade, but they weren't wearing, like, she wasn't wearing like the typical wedding dress, and they weren't in a church or anything like that. It seemed like they literally just woke up and was like, we're gonna get married, we're gonna go to this restaurant and call it a day. It looked like it was in a restaurant or like a restaurant event hall type thing. But she had on like a little like dressy casual dress. He had on like a church suit. His brother had on a church suit. His parents had on like dressy casual clothes. Everyone's looking like a little bit more dressed up than casual. But yeah, like it could have passed for holiday photos had that title not been on the album. So I'm clicking through. I'm heated. Like, you talk about your heart shattering. I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. I call him and I'm like, what? I sent him the screenshot. I was like, what the hell is this? Da 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 da. And he was just like, oh man, like he's quiet on the phone. And I'm just like, explain yourself. Like, I'm ballistic. All right. And where we lived in DC was a row home. And so there was like levels, but it wasn't the whole house. So when someone yelled or something, you could hear it through the whole house minus the basement. So I'm like, explain yourself. And I'm ballistic. I'm crying, all that. My mom's running upstairs. She's like, what's going on? What's going on? And my sister and my best friend were at the house at this point. And they were just like, she's on the phone with, Bob and this, that, the third. And so he was like, I wanted to tell you when you were at the base earlier, but I knew that you had to drive home and I didn't want you to be upset and get in an accident or nothing like that. And I was going to tell you. And that's why I kept hitting and da da da. I was like, bleepity bleep, blankety blank. Like, when I get mad, okay, I'm saved, but your girl cusses, all right? I will be like, bleepity blank, 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 blank. Like, I cuss more than a sailor when I'm pissed. And that's what I was doing. I was cussing, I was crying, I was screaming, I was going off. I called him everything but a child of God. And so my mom comes in the bathroom, because at this point I'm in the bathroom and I'm on the floor and I'm losing it. I'm shaking, I'm crying, I'm shivering, I'm hyperventilating. My mom's like, hang up the phone, hang up the phone, hang up the phone. Like, she's telling me to get off the phone because she's like, is my daughter's going to have to be hospitalized at this point? Because I was that far gone. And so I hang up the phone. My mom takes it from me. She hangs it up. And, she's just like, don't talk to him ever again. Don't talk to him. She was like, and I better not see him, because if I see him, that's going to be his last day. I tell you that right now. That's going to be, my mom's gangster like that. Like, she don't play. All right. And she a little 5'4" skinny woman. She does not play about hers, period. And people know that. When she gives orders, the soldiers march. And I come from a large family, and we about that life. So you don't even want to go down that road with us. And that's not counting my brother and all that, And so my mom was like, I bet not see him, okay, in her Guyanese Creole or whatnot. So I'm done at this point. Like, this was actually the beginning of my depression. This is when I started really battling with depression, because at this point I'm like, I really did not know that this man had a whole nother woman. Come to find out that this girl, Sarah, was deployed with him overseas. So they were already probably in a relationship when he met me on Black Planet. And then when he went to California, he was going to see her, because she was from California. He went to see her, okay? Because after it was all said and done, I saw pictures on her Facebook page of them like at the beach, making their own little bonfire, all cuddled up on the beach, looking at the waves and stuff like that. And her father's a pastor. So I'm like, for your parents to fly in from California to Tennessee for the holidays, you had to have been planning this. That's not something where you're going to call up your parents and be like, hey, mom and dad, I'm getting married next week. And they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to be there. Like, they're going to want to know, especially since he's a pastor. He has a schedule. He has things to do. Granted, his church was small, but yeah, like, so that really pissed me off, because it's like everybody was in on this. Everybody knew, but I'm being dragged along, and people are co-signing this like it's all good, including elders who should be correcting their children, saying, what the hell are you doing? That's not how you do it, okay? I was like beyond God, but nevertheless, it started a depression, and I was just done at that point. I can't remember if I ever heard from him again right then and there, but I remember a year passed and my family was at another convention for another company that we used to be a part of, but we just decided to go because we love the company, we love the people. So we're in St. Louis, we're turning up, we at the Arch visiting that and going to the little barbecue restaurants in Missouri and stuff. And I remember we were getting on the streetcar to go out to dinner, and I kept getting this call from a 757 number. And I'm just like, who is calling me? Like, they just will not end, right? So at this point, I had healed. Okay, I was on the journey of recovery after the heartbreak and stuff like that. And so, I forgot to say, This Negro actually tried to wish me Merry Christmas after all that went on. And I think he actually tried to reach out to my mom for her birthday or some nonsense. But I remember my mom like low-key cussing him out. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember my mom low-key cussing him out. And she was like, you must have lost your daggone mind, basically. But nevertheless, 2010, okay, so that was 2009. 2010 rolls around, summertime, about a year later. And I'm in St. Louis living my best life. And this 757 number keeps calling me. And I'm just like, who is this? This is really annoying. Then the number starts texting me, and I don't answer unknown numbers. I always think it's a bill collector or something. I'm just like, they don't have to wait for their money, okay? Like, period. Your girl ain't got no shame. So I'm like, they don't have to wait. So when I get the text, I'm like, dang, bill collectors are texting you now talking about, hey, what's up? Like, they really trying to reach you now. They really trying to make it seem like they're your homie. And so I'm like, okay, this number's texting. So I decided to respond because I'm like, this is just weird, you know? So I respond, and then the person's like, hey, how are you? They're talking like they know me. So I'm just like, I'm good. Who is this? And then they respond and they're like, I'm kind of scared to say who it is because you might not talk to me anymore. And I'm just like, so I'm like, that's going to make me not talk to you anymore if you don't tell me who it is. So eventually he's like, this is Bob. And I'm just like, oh my God, why is Bob reaching out to me? And he's like, I miss you. You know, I just wanted to say I shouldn't have did things the way I did it. This, that, the third, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's a little late to try to reconcile. Like, I'm living my best life. I'm on the rebound. And that's the thing. Men will do you dirty and realize they lost a good thing after you already healed. We get our hurt out the way early as women. And after the first few months, we're out here living it up, doing our best, living our best life, doing our best, just doing good and looking good, doing it. They go out and they live their best lives. And then 6-7 months down the road, they're grieving. And they're like, oh, I miss you and this and that. But then I'm over you. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. There is no turning back for real. You know, and so he was just like, I'd love to see you when you come back in town so we could talk about things to just get closure. I'm not a closure type person. I see it. You did me wrong. I'm out. That's my closure. There is nothing to discuss. Like, I'm out of here. But I understand some people like closure, so it is what it is. And so I'm just like, I mean, I got to meet you up at, and I named a public place and whatever. So I think the day came and I was like, yeah, I changed my mind, you know. And so he was like, okay, that's fine. He was like, but can I just tell you what I got to tell you? I was like, okay. So in a nutshell, he basically told me that, like, he made a mistake and Sarah was not as understanding as he thought she was, that, you know, she had done some things behind his back, like as far as financial stuff, like she purchased a car without consulting him and they were already married. You know, she didn't really understand how to work as a team. And whenever he would tell her something, she would just brush it off. Like, she basically just did not really care about his opinion or respect his manhood in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, he was basically just like, yeah, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have did it. This, that, the third, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, you made your bed. Now you got to lay in it. He was like, but you look good, this and that. And I'm just like, thanks, you know, can't really help you. And so that was the last time we had talked then. But then like a couple months after that, I ran into him at a stoplight in Maryland. Like, I was driving somewhere. I was going to hang out with friends or something. And I'm at a stoplight, a red light, and I hear this honking. And I'm like, who is honking? They about to get this smoke. This is the third. I turn over, and it's this Bama, Bob, talking about, hey, how are you? Waving me down. I'm just like, what are the odds that I would see you at a traffic light? So I roll down the window. He's like, pull over, let's talk. So I pull over to the nearby parking lot by FedEx Field in Landover and or Largo, whatever that area is considered now. Rezoning is a B. But yeah, so I pull over, we're talking. He was just like, man, you look great. You know, he sized me up. He's like, you look great. I had lost some weight. The curves was right. Okay, this is my pre-sun body. I was like, bow. Like, you know, it was stacked, all right? I was looking good. I was feeling better. I was like, in my little car, I'm just like, you know, and I had a Toyota Highlander. It was blue, it was sexy. Like, I had some good times in that car. So I'm like looking cute, car freshly washed, outfit on fleek, hair done. I had like a Halle Berry cut, kind of like this, but with my hair. This is the wig. But I was looking good, okay? And it was highlighted and all that. He was like, dang, like, you looking good. I'm just like, thanks, you know, like feeling myself. And he's like, yeah, you know, like, I would like to hang out. And me and Sarah, like I said, a few months ago, we having problems, and, you know, she just don't get me like you do, and this, that, the third, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just like, yeah, that hanging out is going to have to be a no for me, dog. It's a no for me. But nevertheless, that was the last time I saw him face to face. And, you know, it was a tough time for me. But I would definitely say that catapulted me into like messing with the wrong guys and just really trying to seek validation from the wrong guys, doing the wrong things, just out here being reckless, you know, out here doing some mess because I was trying to heal from that. And I thought I had healed, but I hadn't. Now I've come a far way. I know my worth. I know God has someone out there set aside for me, and I'm not going to compromise just to make a guy feel good. I'm not going to tolerate a guy that makes me feel less than. I'm not going to tolerate a guy that speaks down to me, and neither should you, sis, okay? Like I said, if you're in a relationship and a guy's making you feel less than, you need to let him go. If he's making you question yourself, you need to let him go. If he's not enhancing you across the board, you need to let him go, okay? It's not worth it. God has someone set aside for you, and he will come when the time is right. So, and you have to pray for discernment because there could be more than one. I don't believe in the one, but that's a whole other topic. But nevertheless, you have to have discernment to discern God's best for you out of the options that he gives you. So, you know, I will say, though, that I felt vindicated because in 2015, I found out that him and Bob and Sarah got divorced. And it looked like she took the kids because they had 2 kids together. It looked like she took the kids and she moved back to Cali. And he's still in Tennessee with his new wife now. And they got kids and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to lie, I did feel vindicated. I was like, okay, God definitely looked out for me because for years, and comment down below if you know what I mean by this, but when you're done wrong by somebody and then it seems like they go on and live their best life and they never struggle or suffer and you're just like left to pick up the pieces, you're left holding the bag, that's the worst feeling because I'm sitting here going from sucky relationship to sucky relationship, dealing with mess, just in my personal life and then just making poor decisions too. I can own up to it. And I'm dealing with all that, and he's just looking picture perfect online, happy, loving, smiling with his wife and his kids. And that's another reason why you should never take online seriously, because a lot of these people that are smiling and looking happy that you are envious of, their life is in shambles when they put the camera down. Okay, I got stories for days. So anyways, that's how that story went. Let me know down below if you like this story, if you want to hear more story times. I think you guys love them because y'all low-key messy, but it's all good because I like the tea too, sis. So I'm sorry it was so long. It's 45 minutes long, but I left out even a lot of meat out of the situation. But nevertheless, bottom line, don't trust these men, okay? No, let me stop. Find you a good one. And when a king comes into your life, recognize he's a king, but work on yourself, sis. Love yourself, be your best self while you're waiting for your king. So that's all I have for you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below if you want to see and hear more story times. And I will see you on the next video. Bye, Delle Dolls. Love you.